Thanks for staying with us. And unfortunately, we're experiencing some difficulty in our network. We're supposed to be joined by Mr. Shola Omolayo, Public Affairs Analyst, and we're hoping that the network will be better for him to be able to talk with us. In the meantime, we're going to take just the headlines that made it to the front pages now. We'll read them out. As soon as the network is better or it improves, we're going to bring Shola to address some of the issues that we can, given the time that we may have at that point. We start with the Tribune newspaper. Local government poll, how Osun APC lost at the Court of Appeal, is a story there on the Tribune newspaper. And it starts on page 1, continues on page 4 and 5. You may want to read that. But the screaming headline there is Tax Reform Bill Survive in Reps Scale Second Reading. Lawmakers back NGF's position on VAT sharing formula, that is 50% equity, 20% population, 30% derivation. Call for stiff penalties for tax evaders, airing public funds managers. Kick against issuance of exemption order to boost revenue generation. Back existence of TETFON and Naseni NITDA as well. Okay, all these about tax reform on the Tribune newspaper. We also have it on the Punch newspaper. Reps divided as bill scale first reading. That's on tax reforms. We have it on the Guardian newspaper as well. Tax reform bills advance amid pushback in phasing out key agencies. We also have it on the Nation newspaper. House substance stands on tax reform bills. So all the newspapers have that on tax reforms. You might want to read them. PDP National Working Committee confirms Ude Okoye as National Secretary, transmits name to INEC. That's on page 2 of the Tribune newspaper. We're still on the Tribune newspaper. We've not moved to another one, even though we'll also have a report on PDP on other newspapers. But we're still on the Tribune newspaper. Senate scraps special fund account for Regional Development Commission's NYSC. It's also a story there. You can read that up on the Tribune page 24. IBDC reconnects UCH, that's on page 16. That's a very good news. UCH, the University College Hospital, finally, after about 100 days or so, has been reconnected to power. So I wonder how many people have lost their lives. I wonder what the management and staff and patients have gone through in up to almost 4 months now that they haven't been light in that UCH. Even at some point, the students had to protest the absence of power in that place. Catholic bishops denounced resurgence of herdsmen attack in Southwest, task governors on security. Herdsmen still in the Southwest and anywhere else in Nigeria in the 21st century is very worrisome that we cannot be talking about ranching. And when we're talking about ranching, I hope the government will not make it compulsory that every state must have a ranch. If that state doesn't want a ranch, do not force them to have a ranch. If they have a ranch, let it be managed by people who are from that place. Let it be owned by people who are from that state. What I'm saying, why I'm saying this is that we've seen situations where people come from other places, settle at a particular place. Let's take the biblical case, for instance, where Israel went to Egypt, settled in Egypt, multiplied more than even the inhabitants, and it needed to come to a time where the Pharaoh said, you know what, we have to let these people go and let them go back to their country. They are procreating more than us, and they are growing very powerful and all that. In some cases, we've seen where the stranger elements sack the owners of the land, the indigents of that land. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if the inhabitants of a particular state think differently about having a ranch that will be owned by people who will come from somewhere else and settle in that place, and over the years begin to claim ownership, even now that they are not given that opportunity to have that exclusive right to stay in a particular place, we know what has been happening. Take, for instance, what happened in Ebonyi very recently, and what is happening in the Southwest now, and so many other places in our country. I'm not condemning a tribe, but I'm saying that whatever the people of a particular state feel about a ranch coming to their state, and how you go about it. Respect it, whether federal government or no. If we have Ministry of Livestock, and the Ministry of Livestock, all they want to do is establish ranches everywhere in our country and make the people who are headers right now to own these ranches and live in that place. We are never sure of what can come out of that. I'm just contributing my 10 kobo to this issue. Let the people of that community be trained to either embrace that kind of farming, because heading livestock is also a sort of farming. So there's no issue of headers, farmers clashes. They are both farmers with different things that they are farming. So let the people in that place have the orientation. Let the extension officers show them what to do, show them the advantages of this, and see if they want to embrace this. If they want to embrace it. If they want to, then fine. Let them go ahead and do that. But I am, as a person, nobody sent me to stock this one. No. That's what we say in Nigeria. But as a person, what I'm saying is that we've seen so many cases where people settle. After a few, maybe decades, they begin to feel like it belongs to them, that place belongs to them, and before you know what is happening, there's war, there are wars here and there, and it becomes a matter of who is more brave, who is more populated, nobody considers whether the people who were there were 100 people and they actually owned the land and all that. These are things that people are genuinely afraid of when you talk about ranching or cattle routes or something that we've been talking about, the Ruga that came up in the Buhari administration and all that. Respect the feelings of the people about ranching and about heading or bringing cattle to their land or many other things. We can rear all the cattle that we need in the north, for instance, and we will have our rice production and wheat production in the south if that is possible. And what do the cattle eat when they are in the ranch? Maybe it will be the husk from the rice or something. I don't know how that works, but the south can supply the north, and the north can also supply the south. South can supply the hay to the north, and the north can supply the meat to the south. It can work that way. So I'm just saying, let's be careful about what is happening. Right now, the cattle bishops are against what is happening. Headers also still, there's a resurgence of headers attack in the southwest, and the governors are tasked to be security conscious and do more. Then how? Okay, we move to another newspaper. We will be swift about that. The Punch newspaper, tariff hike, Labour subscribers plan telcos shut down March 1. I don't know how that will work, because even when you say that we should boycott everything that the telcos are doing, a lot of people will say, oh, their work will suffer, their businesses will suffer, and so many other things. But let us make our intentions known, that we are not happy about this. And I particularly am not happy that the National Assembly is only now coming to say, okay, reverse all the tariffs that you have set at this time that the tariffs have already gone up. I thought that when this idea was mulled, the NCC and every other stakeholder could have been brought to a table and they discuss, what is it that you're really facing? Is it something that government can help so that you don't raise these tariffs? But nothing like that was said. Now the tariffs have been raised, and then you're asking them to reverse them. Even if on paper they say they're reversing them, try buying a gigabyte of data and see how far that can take you. Even if you're buying it for 10 naira, let's see if it's going to take you for 15 minutes. They know how to systematically do what they want to do. So I think our people should protect us more. Consumer protection and all that should be up and running and doing their work. Federal government may ban trucks as tanker fire claims 493. It's almost a daily occurrence now that tankers will explode. And then sometimes, even if the tankers themselves do not explode, they fall, they have an accident, and the fuel is leaking from the tanker. Everybody wants to go and scoop the fuel, even after knowing how dangerous this could be. A lot of people die in the process, and people do not learn. I'm not sure this is a factor of poverty. It is not poverty. Sometimes some of these people that go to scoop this fuel are people who are well-to-do. They have their houses, they have cars, they want cheap fuel, or fuel for free. They want to go and scoop. These people may not necessarily be the poor people that want to go and scoop this fuel to come and sell. So it is not a product of poverty. Sometimes it's mostly a product of greed, and then you needlessly lose your lives. So maybe there should be more orientation to the people and help us change the psyche of the people. Abia PDP chapter defies National Working Committee order. Otom Anyanwu face panel March 4. That's also there. Then APC hires private firm for membership e-registration. Hoodlums in court for abducting policemen in Ondo. And then reps summon customs CG over officers' retirement. Remember that they say people are due for retirement, but they have refused to go. I don't know a system where you are due for retirement and you refuse to go, and you're still being paid, and everything is still being processed for you. People are above the law in this country. It's unfortunate. We move to the Guardian newspaper. Importers divert cargo to Togo, others to evade tariff hike. See, sometimes you want to make some money, or you want to make money, yes, and then you find out that you're losing more than making the money. Tariff hike in Nigeria, they said that after 32 years, according to them, this is the first time they are going to hike some aspects of this, and then people are now diverting. And in fact, all the charges that are experienced at the ports make people want to go to Cotonou instead of coming to the Nigerian ports, make people want to go to Togo and other places to avoid these taxes. If they are overtaxed and they go to other countries and pay this small tax to them, these countries will make more money than us, and then will encourage more smuggling, because people need to make a living, and they want to come, and they find out that when they pay the taxes at the ports, they bring the goods into the country. They might not even sell them because the prices will be so high that the people will not want to buy. Some people will want to cut corners. So sometimes we make policies, and those policies are tools that we put in the hands of people to turn them into criminals. So reconsider and see what we can do. The ease of doing business starts from the entry point of these goods that we want to bring into the country or want to take out of the country. Sometimes that's where it starts. And so let's look into that and see whether we are losing more money by increasing the tariff or gaining more money. Let's see what happens. Now, there are others that I would like to rush through. Edo Election Tribunal, PDP alleges conflicting testimonies, APC to present 28 witnesses. Revert to old tariff before March or face a total strike, NLC tells government and telecom operators. That's also on the Guardian. Business, homes, court losses or count losses as national grid collapses again. We talked about that earlier on top trending issues. 124 journalists killed in 2024. Israel mostly responsible, says CPJ. That's on the foreign scene. Tinubu meets Google, wants Nigeria to drive Africa's AI evolution. That's a good one. I'm hoping that that conference for the youths that they talked about will happen soon. I did say when that idea came up that this conference may not happen for a very long time. It will only happen when it is going to be an advantage to the ruling party and help in making them win the election and all that. Well, but our time has run out, and we've seen other things, rumbling in PDP and so many other things. But you need to grab this page, these newspapers, or go online and read the news. You need to be informed well about what is happening in your country. That way you can argue well, you can contribute better to the development of our country. Let's take a breather. When we return, we'll go to our first hot topic. Stay with us.